When it comes to the three headless horsemen of the bullpup apocalypse, there's three that people tend to recognize. The FAMAS, the Tavor, and the AUG, and, maybe a few others. What I have for you today is neither of those and a record-breaking second non-sponsored and fourth total AEG on this channel, and there's a reason I picked this up. We'll explain that in a minute. Today we bring something more unique to the table to review the Silverback MDR-X. You see, more recently than not, I attended my first American Milsim event, and that was an absolute blast. However, there's one thing that I noticed at start. And myself, who swore to only diddle and gas blowbacks on this channel, had realized very quickly on that everybody besides me and a couple other goofballs were running AEGs or HPA. Now, just around about hour 12, I started to notice why. Blue 24 is a massive and impressive field, but I was outranged constantly, everyone had more ammo than me, and I quickly realized I was at a disadvantage, not just because of my playstyle, but because of what I was using. Now, that doesn't change the fact that my relationship with gas blowbacks will always be. However, I do think the MDRX has potential to be a really solid HPA backup or even primary when I do go to these events. We could sit back, pour ourselves a cup of coffee, and talk about all of my plans for the MDRX later. Right now, though, it's time we review it. For purposes that I think are extremely important to mention before we do start to check this thing out and go through the entire field test I have planned for it, I do want to say that AEGs are still something that I'm new to and getting used to, so if I do say anything wrong, please feel free to correct me in the comments below. I do my best to study and research, but I have not been dealing with these nearly as long as I have bolt actions and gas blowbacks. When it goes to build and construction, a majority of this thing is a mixture between polymer where it can be, steel where it has to be, and aluminum where it looks and feels nice. We'll start at the back with the rubber butt pad that is honestly pretty firm, but it's got enough give to where it feels good and not too much give to where it feels cheap, plus a QD mount on the right and left side, so that's nice and ambidextrous. Just in front of that, we showcase a polymer cheek rest and then also your shell ejection port, or your mock shell ejection port, which is actually only evident on the right side. On the opposing side, we just have a cap, which I believe is ambidextrous and can be switched out if you please. This incredible little piece on the side is actually extremely important. This is what locks in your mags, and what this allows you to do is change out which mags you'll be using on the Silverback MDRX, or even with the original Desert Tech real steel variant. We'll get more into that in another video. Just under that is this giant pager of a mag, which is originally designed to hold 308 and its real steel counterpart, but this guy is just an absolute block and a half. And just in front of that is one of your multiple options for mag releases, which is honestly extremely well placed. We do have ambidextrous fire selector switches on both the right and left side. Clicks nicely and slightly loosely into place for semi, a more solid click for auto, and it's very mushy for safe. I assume that's just because it just totally blocks out the trigger. Maybe. The trigger is actually really nice to look at, and in its fire form has a very, very short and quick trigger pull. It's super light, and just in front of that is not one, but two ambidextrous extra mag releases. So, which is super convenient whether you are righty, lefty, or I don't know, boathy. Rail space is also something you have a lot of. It runs down the length of almost the entire upper receiver from front to back and comes equipped with a pair of iron sights. Actually, wait, no it doesn't. I lied. I picked this up aftermarket. I forgot to mention that. Iron sights do not come with it. That being the same for the red dot, the can, and of course the little grip. The charging handle is super interesting. I believe this means it's a version 3, being that it's got the charging handle that protrudes out the entire time on not only just the right, but also the left side. And being an AEG, it's light, it's bouncy, and it does absolutely nothing except just look cool. Stunning, almost like fish crocodile sort of looking polymer handguard also features a rail on the base, and then of course a setting of 3 on each side M-lock attachment points. Now, where you won't necessarily see this, there will be a 14mm counterclockwise thread showcased on the outer barrel and another little sling attachment point up at the front just below it. Everyone always wants to know where the hop-up is, not how the hop-up is, and I guess I understand that. Now, I do regret to inform you, from everything that I've read, it is in fact proprietary, but on the inside you can see the hard-to-reach dial that allows you to rotate and increase and decrease hop on the inside of your shell ejection port. Let's get this thing ready to fire, shall we? You're going to need yourself a battery. Today I am running an 11.1 volt, 1400 milliamp Airsoft battery. This one is wired to Dean's. What we need to do is attack this pin right here. All we have to do is punch it out. It will stay inside of the MDR-X halfway, and then we can go ahead and pop off the butt plate. Now, this is a really, really tight space, so a lot of battery sizes are going to be kind of finicky. This is just the one that was available with it, that was sent to me with it, so this is the one I'm obviously going to keep using. I should probably unplug this first. We'll slide it straight up into the back. We'll connect the Dean's connector. And then you have to be careful, because when you do put it all back into place, you're going to notice the butt plate has to clip around this little peg. And then also we still have to be able to get this pin through, and all the wires are in the way. It's got to go through this guy. So it will be able to push them back, but make sure you don't crunch them too much. And especially if some of your batteries and wires are newer, they're going to be a little bit less mobile. Drop the lower portion of the butt plate in first. Snap it on closed. Now, during this time, it's important to mention that the upper and lower receiver are also connected by this pin, so you're going to have to give it a little bit of squeeze downwards at the same time as pushing this butt pad in, and that should allow you to slowly finagle that pin down in place. Now, the irony behind pulling out the T238 speed loader to check out how many rounds go inside of the mag is actually, from my understanding, there are either gears or motor or some portion of the inside of the Silverback MDR-X is actually using T238's AEG parts. We'll just set this guy on infinite. We'll take our mag and we'll start loading to see how many BBs go inside. Loading no problem, obviously, as we'd expect. The speed loader is phenomenal, and it looks like we capped out at, I think, 95 rounds. Now, like I said, I picked this up aftermarket. I have not even the slightest of clues if this thing is going to work. I really hope it does. I also have never fired one of these or heard one fire in person. I've never actually seen somebody with an MDR-X in person. I've only watched videos of them, so I'm really excited to see how it sounds. With the AEGs, obviously, when it comes down to, like, you know, we can't do some of our gas tests that we'd regularly do, especially things like the temperature just simply don't matter. So we're going to check out the sound, make sure it runs and feeds every BB on semi. Then we'll also do the same on auto. We'll run a few drills. We'll check out the FPS, the rounds per second. We'll do a breakdown. We'll do all those fun things. But again, it's going to be a little bit different than what we're, you know, originally used to, right? So let's get this guy on. I guess let's see how it sounds. Huh? What happened? Why is the... Oh, that was weird. I don't know why that happened. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I can't say that I love the sound, but it's not the worst. So I have fired AEGs before that sound very clanky, and like there's a lot of gears and a lot of like clicking and grinding. This one, it's a little bit late to the party, so when you pull the trigger, there's some sort of a sense that the BB takes a little bit longer to push out. And I don't really understand how to like explain to you the sound that's coming to the ears. It's very loud because obviously everything's kind of happening back here, being that it's a bullpup, but it's like a soft, like, it's like a mushy gear movement, if that makes any sense. All right, so there's definitely also a sweet spot when pulling the trigger that you can find, and if you can tune it correctly with your, like, I guess, muscle memory, you can fire off repetitive shots pretty quickly, but there's obviously a space where that will hinder you if you're not used to it. Maybe that'll... Yeah, you can kind of see every now and then I get it. Let's check out some auto. And we're out of ammo. Doesn't sound too bad, though. Do a little more burst. We got a new full mag. Here we go. All right, so it's not the quickest out of the box that I've had, or seen or heard, but it is honestly pretty quiet in terms of some of the AEGs that I've heard, and it's not because of the shush cans with AEGs, that doesn't really matter because all of your sound is really coming from the gearbox. That's not going to do a whole lot. I can even, if you guys want, take this off. It probably sounds the same. Yeah, it sounds exactly the same. But that is, I mean, it looks awesome. And, you know, from a guy that's coming from gas blowbacks, it sounds okay. Chronograph out and on. Thank you to Ace Tech. We have 0.25s reading on the chronograph, which is exactly what we have in the MDRX. Can is off just to make it a little easier to make sure the shots are going directly through the chronograph. And we'll toss a handful of shots through it and see what kind of consistency we're reading at with 0.25s. Here we go. 283 FPS at 0.93 joules. 311 at 1.12 joules, 311 FPS at 1.13 joules, 310 FPS at 1.12 joules, 312 at 1.1, 310 at 1.1, 308 at 1.1, 312 at 1.1, 308 at 1.1, 314 at 1.1, 312 at 1.1, and 309 at 1.1. Let's just go back through those and see what we're looking at. So number-wise, I mean, obviously in terms of AEGs, there could definitely be better consistency, but in terms for an out-of-the-box AEG, that is, I mean, we're looking at fluctuations between like maybe 6 FPS, and it's definitely on the lower power side, so you could even CQB this if you wanted to, even with that longer inner barrel. That's not horrible. It could be better. So down there I got a purple target. I want to test out the accuracy. We're going to throw the can back on, and then I think what we're going to do is just make sure that the hop-up unit is zeroed in. I tested it before, but just as proof of concept, I want you to see that I can make contact with that target out there. That's going to be as far as we're going to be shooting at any of the targets when we do run some drills, and then we'll run a drill or two and see what this thing can handle. All right. I'm going to rack the handle because it just doesn't feel like, it makes no sense if I don't. It just feels super weird. And we'll make sure we can put some shots down. And again, just keep in mind that the camera mount that I have on here is going to hinder my ability to see the red dot sight completely. So I might be struggling a little bit, but there we go. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, we're hopping just fine. It's going directly straight with a little bit of curve at the top and then down below as we get further away. But we're making contact with that target out there, so let's run some drills. I got a wooden target, a steel target, and 3 steels in the back. We're going to go 2 on the wood. We'll run up to the wood. We'll kind of perch against it. 2 on the purple. We'll go under the ropes. 2 more on the purple, straight to the back. We'll go 2 on each target of the steel from left to right. I'll do a little bit of a burst on both of our longest targets away. We'll come back, 2 shots on the purple, and that'll be the end of it. And I'm going to try and do it in all my tactical slides. So here we go. I'm also going to rack the charging handle because it makes absolutely no sense. Make sure we're in safety to start in 3, 2, 1. Up to here, we got 2 on purple. Under the ropes. Oh, I hit that. There's 2. So hard to see that red dot. All right, left to right, left to right. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. And we'll throw that in auto. We'll attack our longest to burst. I missed. Cool. Back to semi. We'll go back. And we'll go 2. So just got some more ergonomics tests. I want to see kind of what it feels like if I have to switch shoulders back and forth, if we're going around an opposite corner, if I got to shoot ambidextrous, you know, so on and so forth. So we'll throw this into semi and see. I'm starting these. I'm still new to these, so be easy on me. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Got stuck on the microphone. That's not too bad. I'm going to try and remember this with my doofus brain, but I have that purple target on the right again. Why don't we take the wood target and we'll go right side, low, left side, right side, low. On semi, we'll try and go 2 plinks for each one. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. I missed those. There we go. So I am noticing so far the ergonomics are honestly really sweet. I actually really do like this. I think it's a little front heavy right now, so I'm going to pop this off and see if that changes anything. That is aluminum, it's not super heavy, but let's run another drill and I'll let you know if it feels any better. So I think to test out the weight, what I'm going to do is keep this guy on target for a really long period of time, and I want to just take a shot for every step, and we'll start walking backwards and see how easy it is for me to keep the sights on target while holding the MDR-X. And honestly, already it feels a lot lighter, so I think that can on the front was just weighing it down. But here we go. 3, 2, 1. Selector's weird. Oh, that wasn't a one. Is it not? All right, restart that. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Selector. There we go. Oh, miss. There we are. One of those didn't feed. Not too bad. Without the can on the front, that is absolutely 1000% better. It is so much lighter when we're shooting down target and trying to keep this thing ADS. So I may actually continue to run this thing, a little stubby guy. For most people, I understand the ergonomics of this thing might be a little weird, already being that bullpups is not something that most people are used to, but for me as a bullpup guy, being that I own so many bullpups now and I just love them, the ergonomics of this are super comfortable, and I actually really do like what Desert Tech has done with the thing. It is just so cool. I think I definitely will continue to run it a little bit shorter than this, just because it is a little heavy at the front. I actually like it as a shorter replica to begin with. I know they have the micron, but I don't really like the way that one looks. I'm more into this guy with the longer, which is super weird, but the longer handguard. But enough of that. How did Silverback do? I don't want to go piecing this thing apart just yet, because I'm still not really too familiar with all the AEG stuff, and I don't want to wind up destroying things, and I just have no idea what to do from there. There are a few things that I can tell you, like its consistency was okay. Respectable, not the best. Is it the best AEG on the planet? Well, absolutely not. I would be a fool to tell you that it is, but it's good. Now, hearing that it has a lot of proprietary parts is not always a great thing, especially being that Silverback is not an American-based company. It's going to be even harder, especially with all the tariffs, to get the parts into the US right now. It would be nice if all these parts were not proprietary. I don't really understand why a lot of other companies don't try and prioritize making things that are already available on the market, because I think they would gain a much larger following, and I think more people would pick something like this up if it were. I've also seen some nightmares where people have said that the build construction isn't the best, where things are starting to fall apart, wobble, and creak, and also the handguard tends to move all over the place. I don't really understand how that happened, and I really am sorry to those people, and I've always commended Silverback for their pristine quality and construction, especially with their bolt actions, both of which I love so much. This is the same. I think everything is rock solid. There's really no rattling. Nothing feels cheap. Nothing feels out of the ordinary. It just looks and feels nice. It definitely feels nice. Now, its power isn't something to be gawking over, but it is respectable and also is usable and not restricted at its power output right now at any field anywhere in my area, which is phenomenal. So I won't be restricted to using it, whether it be indoor or outdoor, wherever I choose to train. Is the MDRX something that you want to pick up? Now, I don't really know. Maybe it is, if it's something that you really like the look of. It is the only MDRX on the market right now, so if that's the platform that you like, well, absolutely. If you're looking for an AEG that is just solid 1000% out of the box. You need to touch nothing with. I don't know if this is the one, but I know that proprietary wise, it's going to be hard to get upgrades. So if you're one of those guys that want to upgrade, maybe you're going to want to go with a different option. I am extremely excited about this platform and picking it up. This is one of the AEGs that I've always wanted, just because I always wanted a gas blowback one. And if you look into Silverback's comment section, anytime they post an MDRX, I'm one of the people who say gas blowback when. I would, oh my God, if they released one. But for now, my goal is to turn this into HPA. I know they are coming out with an HPA MDR at some point down the road. I just decided that this is what I wanted to do, and I have a couple plans to see if we can convert this to HPA, and some people with so much more knowledge to help me convert it. I'm just really excited, and I am excited to take it out and field it at a Milsim event, because I think Milsim events are seriously geared towards like HPA and AEG. You are already at a disadvantage with gas in most cases. Spring snipers and stuff are great, but when it starts to get really dark out, well, there's really not a whole lot you're going to do there. So something like this is definitely a better option, especially for when it gets to those night games. So I'm really excited about trying to attend some more Milsim events over the course of the next year or two, and think if I can get things running the way that I want it to, this might wind up being the replica that I bring. So if you like the video, let me know what you think. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, obviously let me know in the comment section below. If there's anything that you want to teach us about the MDRX as well that I missed, please just go ahead and do so, because again, like I said, I'm sure there's somebody out there that's more well-versed in this thing than I am, but I had a blast reviewing it. The ergonomics are solid. I like Desert Tech, I really do. And I think Silverback licensing their stuff is just awesome, because they definitely make some nice, high-quality airsoft pews. I'll catch you in the next adventure. Peace.